Right then, without wasting too much time, we'll just make sure that it's... Alright, perfect. How's Michael? The son from Stockholm doing my answer course today. Hope you're well. How are you finding Durban so far?
Hot. But very nice.
Yeah. First time here? No?
No, I've been to South Africa. I think this is my 5th time to South Africa. I think it's my 2nd to Durban.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
It's a traffic jungle, yeah. Yeah, so what makes South Africa, such a special place to travel to, whether it's just for you or for your family?
I think it's got a world reputation, to be honest, of a great place to travel to. Obviously, you've got the weather. You've got lots going for you. From my point of view, you speak English as well, which is always helpful.
Yeah.
But beaches, golf courses, great food, great people. Horses, football. you like your sport as well, like me. So yeah, I think it's just a great place to come, and I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, sort of going back to Hollywoodbets and your ambassadorial partnership with them. Talk us through that and what your role is essentially as an ambassador.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywoodbets have got an amazing team of ambassadors, and I was with them all this week, and it really does feel like a family of great people. I'm really proud to join the team. I think my life, my history, my passions all align exactly the same as Hollywoodbets, to be honest. I've been a professional footballer all my life, most of my life. My business now is in training racehorses, so we train about 145 horses at my stables. That I've had the business about 23 years now. So that's a massive part of my life, talking about football on the television, my stables at home. And sport in general is just what I'm passionate about. So I obviously know the industry. I like the industry. I like having a bet myself, and enhances a game of football, or watching the golf, or watching cricket. It enhances it for me, and I just, as I say, I like the industry. I'm in close connection with the industry. And when we both started talking, we just obviously felt there were so many synergies, and it's, as I say, great to be part of the team.
So that it feels like a match made in heaven in many senses. The football and the horse racing. What else drew you to the Hollywoodbets brand?
Yeah, I think that the family connection, really. I mean, when I first spoke to the guys, that was the first words they said, "Welcome to the family." And I felt, since I've been here in South Africa, meeting everyone for the first time, that's exactly what the business is like. It's a family business. Everybody looks out for each other. Even meeting all the other ambassadors a few days ago was just a lovely experience. So yeah, I mean, all the elements align with mine. I like to think I'm a family guy. I mean, I'm one of 5, quite a big family. I've got 4 children myself. So it's nice to be part of a new family.
And slightly moving away now from Hollywoodbets and your partnership with them, kind of going into your football career, your illustrious career, of course. And one of the main talking points in football, at least of late, has been player management, player welfare, as well as sort of load management of players. If that was maybe prioritized in your playing days, do you feel as if it probably would have helped you? Do you probably feel as if maybe your career would have turned out a little bit differently?
Well, it's always hard to say. I mean, listen, it can't have hindered, the data, the science, everything else that we get in any sport, in any walk of life nowadays is obviously of major importance and help. But lots of people have always asked that question. My dad was a professional footballer, obviously even less science and less data back then, but muscle injuries is part of our family. My family are all really, really quick, like champion sprinters. And sadly, your little car that just is born to go around, and then you go to watch a Formula 1 car, they break down more, because when you do things faster, there's more that goes wrong. My muscles work differently to 99% of the populations, and that gives me a huge advantage. That gave me a huge advantage. I was much faster than anybody that I ever stood on a football pitch with. However, it hinders you as well. So you can't have everything, and you can't say, I wish I was slower or what. So that was the weapon that I had, and it was fantastic. But it came with a price.
Yeah, similar to players like Gareth Bale, Mickey van der Ven now, got the blessing of being quick, but then there are those sort of drawbacks.
You always dream of having more speed, but then you got to be able to cope with the drawbacks as well.
Yeah, with speed comes responsibility, I guess, and sort of kind of going into the clubs that you played for the biggest clubs in the world, Manchester United, Liverpool, and Real Madrid. Not many people had the privilege, or players should I say, had the privilege of playing for those three clubs. What makes those teams such special institutions to play for and to represent?
Well, each obviously different in their own way, but all of them iconic clubs around the world. Some of the most iconic, probably three of the biggest 4 or 5 clubs in the world, I guess. Yeah. Very proud to have represented them all. The CV is a very pretty one with those names on those names on it. Obviously, I started my career at Liverpool and only dreamt of playing for Liverpool. And if you cut me in half, I die for Liverpool. Yeah. And having played for Liverpool, been at the club for whatever it was, 15 years, throughout the youth academy and into the first team, it was never in my mind to ever move. But all of a sudden, one day you hear that Real Madrid want to buy you, and it does turn your head. It was very difficult to sort of say no, and eventually, after lots of debate and whatever, I thought I will regret this forever if I don't try it. And that's what I decided to do. The grand plan was to go to Real Madrid for however many years and then come back to Liverpool. But of course, plans don't always come to fruition, and in which case then I moved to different clubs, obviously Newcastle to start with, and then Manchester United, and finished up at Stoke. But it was, when you're trying to talk to people, not many people get it. Most people, it's my job, it's our job to play football, just like you've got your job. But I don't support anybody that does your job, whereas you support somebody
that does,
and then you have a strong opinion, and then you have a connection, and then you can't understand if somebody moves from there to there. But if it's your job, then it's very, very different.
Yeah.
And trying to explain to a fan who will never change that badge, they will never change the colour of their shirt. They just can't. They can't understand how you could move from that club to that club. And to be honest, when I was playing for Liverpool, I never understood it as well. I thought this is the team I love. I want to play for them all the time. But there's very, very few players that play for the team they support throughout their career, and that's just life. I've had so many great experiences playing for 3 major clubs, and it was great.
And kind of going into this weekend, big fixture on Saturday, the Manchester Derby, a fixture in which you've done well in the past, 2009. Very long time ago now, but still such a special goal, such a special moment for many Man United fans at the time. Do you predict something similar maybe happening this weekend in terms of it being a goal fest, or do you just see Manchester City dominance? They played Newcastle yesterday and looked really, really solid. So just your thoughts going ahead to the match.
Yeah, I mean, I think the added excitement, the added dimension is Michael Carrick. New manager at Manchester United. With new management comes new optimism, fresh start. I know that's happened lots of times in the last 15 years for Manchester United, but they will turn around sometime. They're too big a club. Got too much money, too many good players. They cannot. Just like Arsenal have been quiet for 20 years, and just like Liverpool before them, and just it goes in cycles. So at some point, Manchester United will be champions again. It might be 3 years, it might be 6 years, it might be 10 years, who knows, but they will. And some manager soon is going to get it right. And who knows, Michael Carrick's been there, seen it, done it, understands the club, a lovely, kind, quiet demeanour, but understands football. And he will go into that dressing room having achieved probably more than any of those players.
Good together.
So he... I think he's got as good a chance as anyone.
Yeah, and sort of looking at Michael Carrick, him taking over for the rest of the season, did you think it got that bad for Ruben Amorim that United had to make that call to
No.
sort of second?
I don't.
this season?
No, I don't think it got that bad, and I don't think it was necessarily much to do with results, because if you look at their league position, they're actually a lot better than they were last season. But I think what happened at both Chelsea and Manchester United in the same week, I think, was outside influences. You know, managers nowadays don't do everything.
Yeah.
There are scouting departments, there are, you know, contractual elements to departments that sort out contracts. There's academy, there's medical, and there's people that rule the roost in each of those departments. Back in the day, the manager, you know, everybody reported to the manager and he would decide. So it is different, and two managers from big teams have come a cropper of that sort of system. It's almost come from abroad, I would guess, but it's sweeping the Premier League now, and it's pretty normal in the Premier League. And no, I don't think either of them, sackings, Chelsea or Manchester United, were to do with the results.
Similar, maybe then to Xabi Alonso at Real Madrid. He's won 16 games out of the 24, if I'm not mistaken. You'd say it's more what's happening above him that's the issue?
Absolutely. I mean, because in all three examples that we've just spoke about, none of them are perfect. But if any of those teams, if Chelsea were top of the league, or if Manchester United were top of the league, I'm sure that these little problems would have been swept under the carpet.
For sure.
And potentially even the manager's been given more power because they're in a position of strength and they're doing really well, and all of a sudden, well, do you want to back me or go? And then they back the manager. But when you're not in a position of strength, then it's not as easy to start bossing people around, I guess. So I would guess that all three clubs, results alone haven't been bad enough to sack their managers. It's all been, yes, that in the background, we're not too happy, but this has been a problem. So now that's it gives you an easy opportunity to get rid of who you want to.
And then lastly, you know, as someone who retired in 2013, you've managed to sort of find your feet outside of the game, you know, as you mentioned with horse racing and obviously being a pundit as well. What would your advice be to players who are really struggling to figure out what to do once they hang up their boots? And, you know, what worked for you, essentially?
Preparing. Prepare before it happens. You know, there's no point. I retired at 33. There's no point then, you know, being 34 and decide, you know what shall I do now? You know, I bought an old farm when I was 22, knowing the future for me was I'm going to develop this business and I'm going to train 10 horses to start with, and then we're going to gradually, and it's worked, it's got bigger, we're training 145 horses now, but I jump out of bed every day and I'm excited about life and I'm excited about doing something. And if you continue to look backwards and think, oh, I used to do this, but now what shall I do? Shall I, you know, stay in the house or go and play golf, or, you know, you get bored. So I'm a person that likes to do things, that doesn't, I don't like sitting in the house. I'm quite an energetic type of person that wants to do things and be active. So I think prepare. You know what you like doing. You've been fortunate to be in a nice position that, you know, maybe you can invest in a new business, or you can do things that you want to do, and prepare for what you want to do.
Thank you so much, Michael. That'll be all from me today.
My pleasure.
See you stay.
Lovely to meet you.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cheers, man.